The most powerful nation in modern history owes more money than any nation in human history. Pause. And it always has. America did not rise from savings. It rose from promises. Promises to repay. Promises to grow. Promises that tomorrow would be bigger than today. And as long as tomorrow kept expanding, the system held. Debt stopped being emergency funding. It became oxygen. Government, corporations, families, all leveraged against the future because the future was assumed to be stronger. But what happens when growth slows? When interest rises? When belief fractures? Because debt compounds, and confidence is fragile. America was not built on gold. It was built on belief, and it began in debt. Smoke rises over a young, fragile America. Colonists count coins. Foreign ships arrive with loans. Debt hums quietly, the foundation of a nation yet to be built. Hamilton's hand scribbles on parchment. States' debts merge into a national promise. Collapse looms if trust fails. Discipline is survival. Architecture of obligation begins to form. Canals carve rivers. Railroads stretch across forests. Ports awaken with commerce. Borrowed money fuels growth. America learns. Destiny can be accelerated before savings ever exist. Citizens watch taxes, notes, and bonds. Fear mingles with hope. Debt is no longer desperation. It becomes a tool, a belief, a promise the nation must uphold. Industrial machines hum. Factories rise. Wealth is built on structured promises. Growth comes first. Payment follows. Leverage transforms from risk into the engine of national power. Coins glint in sunlight. Treasury towers. The system is fragile. One broken promise could crumble everything. Yet, confidence endures. Belief becomes the invisible gold of a nation. Factories roar across the 19th century skyline. Steel, smoke, ambition. Debt shifts quietly from government vaults into railroads, corporations, cities, and ordinary American streets. Bond certificates stack high. Stocks circulate wildly. Municipal projects rise on borrowed capital. Risk stops feeling dangerous. It becomes normal, even necessary for expansion. A family studies an installment contract. Payments small, future large. Automobiles, appliances, homes suddenly reachable before savings fully exist. Desire gains financial structure. Then silence. 1929 shatters confidence. Banks fail. Savings evaporate. Leverage collapses inward. Borrowing, once empowering, feels poisonous. Trust fractures under overwhelming economic weight. War ends. Suburbs expand. The 30-year mortgage unlocks middle-class stability. Credit cards slip into wallets. Borrowing returns, disciplined, institutionalized, quietly encouraged. America no longer avoids debt. It manages it. Government, corporations, households intertwined through structured obligation. Growth depends on leverage. Confidence becomes oxygen for expansion. The 1980s roar. Debt stops being a tool. It becomes fuel. Wall Street expands. Lending deregulated. Credit spreads globally. Risk feels abstract, yet unavoidable, systemic, unstoppable. Governments borrow freely. Tax cuts financed by debt. Households refinance homes repeatedly. Asset prices climb. Leverage multiplies quietly. A house of cards built on confidence alone. Mortgage boom explodes. Loans repackaged, securitized, layered upon layers. Stability feels permanent until invisible cracks spread beneath. No one notices until it's too late. 2008 strikes. Banks collapse. Housing crashes. Credit freezes like concrete. Panic spreads. Trust evaporates. Financial arteries clotted. The U.S. economy convulses under its own ambition. Yet intervention arrives. The Federal Reserve floods liquidity. Markets stabilize artificially. Collapse is prevented, almost by decree. Confidence endures, but dependence deepens dangerously. Debt is no longer peripheral. It is structural. Leverage is permanent. The economy lives on borrowed belief. Fragile, colossal, and terrifyingly human. After 2008, debt stops cycling. It no longer retreats in calm seasons. Deficits expand during crisis and never fully return home afterward. Public debt climbs beyond historic ceilings. Markets keep buying treasuries. The dollar dominates. Safety feels unquestioned. Confidence persists, almost mechanical, almost indifferent to scale. Low interest rates anesthetize risk. Corporations borrow for buybacks. Households juggle student loans, auto debt, revolving credit. Borrowing feels ordinary, almost invisible, everywhere. Then the pandemic hits. Spending detonates. Trillions deployed at breathtaking speed. Debt surges vertically, yet liquidity surges alongside it, cushioning immediate collapse. America proves something extraordinary. It can borrow at historic scale without instant ruin. Power shields fragility. Markets absorb shock. The system keeps breathing. But permanence reshapes psychology. When deficits normalize, restraint fades. When borrowing feels limitless, discipline erodes. Stability now rests on something intangible: trust. Debt is not abstract mathematics. It is promises written decades ago, spoken to workers, retirees, veterans, commitments woven into the American social contract. Social Security, Medicare, veterans' benefits, designed when workers vastly outnumbered retirees, when demographics favored expansion, when longevity and aging seemed distant concerns. But time shifts ratios. Fewer workers support more retirees. The population ages. Obligations expand automatically, indifferent to political speeches or campaign cycles. Entitlement spending dominates the federal budget. Unlike discretionary programs, it does not pause during deficits. It moves forward mechanically, mathematically, relentlessly. Each year, promised payments grow faster than revenues collected. The difference is financed through borrowing. Markets absorb it, assuming stability will endure. This is not sudden collapse. It is gradual compression. Promises compound quietly, and compound interest never negotiates with optimism. For years, low interest rates disguised the true weight of accumulated debt. Borrowing felt inexpensive, manageable, distant from daily political anxiety or public concern. Then rates rose. Not dramatically at first, but enough to shift mathematics. Suddenly, past borrowing became more expensive without new programs or expansion. Interest payments accelerated rapidly, not building bridges, not funding research, not strengthening defense, simply servicing yesterday's decisions with today's revenue. Interest is different from infrastructure. It produces nothing tangible. It generates no productivity. It is the unavoidable cost of obligations already incurred. As debt compounds, interest competes with defense, healthcare, education. Budget priorities tighten quietly when servicing the past rivals investment in the future. The United States still attracts global demand for its bonds, but higher rates shift psychology. Debt becomes visible, and visibility transforms political tension. At the federal level, borrowing looks deliberate, strategic. At the household level, it feels personal, pressing, a constant shadow on daily decisions and long-term dreams. Student loans delay wealth creation. Graduates carry debt into adulthood. Major life milestones, homes, families, businesses, are postponed or compromised by structured obligations. Credit card balances rise with inflation, stretching budgets. Auto loans lengthen. Mortgages trap families in rate cycles beyond their control or financial agility. Debt once symbolized mobility, access, opportunity. Now it increasingly feels like burden, an obligation that limits freedom, patience, and the ability to plan effectively. Wages have grown slowly. Costs rise faster. Housing, healthcare, education, all financed through structured repayment, eroding confidence in personal financial stability over time. The American model assumes future income will justify present leverage. When confidence falters, households pull back. Growth slows. Leverage without expansion becomes systemic pressure.